Welcome back. Today we are diving deep into A Golden Crown, and let me tell you, this is an absolutely foundational episode of Game of Thrones. This is so much more than just another chapter in the story. This is the moment the whole board gets set. The rules of the game are finally spoken out loud, and the first real moves are made towards a war that's now pretty much inevitable. So let's break down exactly how it all goes down. Right now, the entire realm is just teetering on a knife's edge. Over in King's Landing, you've got Ned Stark laid up at the shattered leg, all thanks to some pretty aggressive Lannister payback. His king, Robert Baratheon, is furious, but he's also drunk, he's weak, and when it comes down to it, he's just not willing to actually challenge his wife's powerful family. And while the king is off hunting, Ned is sitting on a secret about Queen Cersei's children that is so explosive, it's going to blow the Seven Kingdoms wide open. So for this explainer, we're going to be tracking 5 really critical storylines that are unfolding across 2 whole continents. We've got Ned's choice in the capital, Tyrion's wild journey, a really game-defining confrontation, the rising threat at the wall, and of course, a fiery vow of vengeance over in Essos. All right, first up, let's jump right into the heart of the conflict, King's Landing. Ned Stark is facing a decision that's going to define not just his own future, but the future of the entire realm. He's being forced to weigh that famous northern honor against his own conscience. Okay, so as Hand of the King, Ned is supposed to be the second most powerful guy in Westeros, right? But he's stuck in bed, crippled by Jaime Lannister. And when King Robert gets back, he's all bluster and rage, but Cersei just effortlessly manipulates him. As Robert backs down, Ned is left with this chilling realization. He is completely alone in this viper's pit. And this, right here, is Ned's impossible choice. His honor, that rigid northern code he lives and breathes by, is screaming at him to tell Robert the truth about Joffrey's real father. But his sense of mercy, well, it knows that if he does, an enraged Robert will, without a doubt, execute Cersei and all 3 of her kids. To Ned, they're innocent in this, and he just can't stomach the thought of more dead children on his conscience. It's a nightmare from Robert's last rebellion that he absolutely refuses to live through again. Now let's shift over to another key player who's also fighting for his life, but in a very, very different way. We're going to follow Tyrion Lannister as he makes his way through the hostile Riverlands, and his whole journey is about proving his own value in the face of his family's constant scorn. So after escaping the Eyrie, Tyrion is not out of the woods yet, not even close. He and his sellsword buddy Bronn are deep in enemy territory, miles away from the safety of his family's army. It's here, out in the wilderness, that Tyrion's only real weapon, his mind, is about to get its biggest test yet. And here is where we see his genius at work. He's surrounded by these savage mountain clans, who, by the way, absolutely despise the Lords of the Vale. Tyrion doesn't fight. He talks. He gets what they're angry about, offers them respect, and promises them the steel weapons they need to get their revenge. In just one conversation, he turns certain death into a powerful new alliance. He shows up at his father's camp not as a failure, but as a commander with a new army. But his father, Tywin, is not impressed, not one bit. He sees Tyrion's capture as just another foolish mistake and assigns him to the vanguard for the next battle, which is basically a death sentence. And what's so crucial here is Tyrion's defiance. He accepts the command, but in doing so, he demands to be seen for what he is, a true Lannister, not just his father's personal disappointment. Okay, let's head back to King's Landing, because while Tyrion is facing actual swords in the field, Ned is facing a different kind of weapon in the court, the truth. And this all leads to the episode's most iconic and, frankly, most chilling confrontation. So, having made his choice, Ned doesn't go to Robert. Nope. He goes directly to Cersei. He tells her, flat out, that he knows her secret, that her children aren't Robert's, they're Jaime's. He just puts all his cards on the table, face up, for her to see. And Cersei? She doesn't even try to deny it. Instead, she just looks him dead in the eye and gives him this terrifyingly honest assessment of their reality. And make no mistake, this isn't a threat, it's a lesson. She is telling him that in their world, the world of power, there is no room for things like honor or mercy or half measures. There is only victory or annihilation. And yet, Ned gives her an out. He tells her to take her children and run before he tells Robert everything. He offers her mercy. But based on the rules Cersei just laid out for him, what do you think? Is Ned playing to win, or has he just sealed his own fate? He's shown his hand, and he's given his enemy time to prepare.
But while all the Southern lords are busy playing their Game of Thrones, a far older, far more terrifying enemy is stirring. Let's go north to the Wall, where all these political games mean absolutely nothing and the real war is about to begin. Up at Castle Black, the men of the Night's Watch are still reeling from being attacked by a reanimated corpse, a white. Lord Commander Mormont knows this was not just a one-off thing. He announces a great ranging, a massive expedition to go beyond the Wall, find the missing rangers, and face this growing darkness head-on.
But how in the world do you fight an army of the dead? Well, it's Samwell Tarly, of all people, who finds the answer. Buried in the snow, he uncovers a cache of obsidian daggers, Dragonglass. From all his reading, he knows this is the ancient weapon of the Children of the Forest, the original people of Westeros. It's the one substance in all of history that can permanently kill a White Walker. For the first time, the Night's Watch actually has a weapon against the coming storm, even if they have no idea just how massive that storm is going to be. And for our final thread, we're going to cross the narrow sea to Essos, where King Robert's paranoia has just backfired in the most spectacular way imaginable, awakening the very threat he's feared his entire life. So Daenerys Targaryen has really come into her own as a Khaleesi, and now she's pregnant with Khal Drogo's son. He's the child prophesied to be the stallion who mounts the world, a conqueror destined to unite the Dothraki and rule everything. And that is the one thing Robert Baratheon, a king who took his throne by force, fears most, a legitimate Targaryen heir with a massive army. So Robert, hearing about this pregnancy, sends an assassin to poison Daenerys. The plot is stopped by the quick thinking of Jorah Mormont, but the damage is done. Khal Drogo, who up until this point had zero interest in Westeros or its stupid Iron Throne, is just consumed by pure rage. Someone tried to murder his wife and his unborn son. This is personal. And this is the result. Drogo makes a blood-sworn vow in front of his entire Dothraki clan, his Khalasar. He will cross the sea. He will take the Iron Throne for his son, and he will unleash the full, terrifying might of his Dothraki horde on Westeros. Robert's attempt to get rid of a distant threat has just made it immediate and very, very real. So, let's just tie all of this together. In one single episode, every major player makes a huge choice, and every single choice has a consequence that just ripples across the entire world. Ned's mercy, Tyrion's defiance, Cersei's warning, Drogo's vow, these aren't just little character moments. These are the opening moves in a war for survival. And that's really the big takeaway here. Ned Stark chose mercy in a game that has none. A Dothraki horde is now promised to the shores of Westeros. And while all these lords and ladies are fighting over a metal chair, the real enemy, the army of the dead, is just gathering its strength in the far north. The Game of Thrones has officially begun, and absolutely no one is ready for what comes next.